Hey guys, it's your Tech Kuya Jamanjeta and welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna do a gaming review of the Huawei P40 smartphone. It's the latest smartphone from Huawei and it's the most affordable and smallest among the P40 series that is available right now in the Philippines. So the Huawei P40, just a short recap, it comes with a 6.1-inch Full HD Plus display. There's a 60Hz refresh rate, and unlike the P40 Pro and the P40 Pro Plus, those two bigger brothers comes with a curved display on all sides and of course a 90Hz refresh rate. But inside the smartphone, we're still getting here a Kirin 990 chipset with 5G. Yes, we do have 5G on this smartphone despite having a price of 36,990, and of course we got here 3,800 mAh of battery, which is more than enough to run your smartphone for a full day. But if you're in gaming, probably you might need to bring a power bank. You might need a power bank with you, or your charger with you. And don't worry about that because the smartphone supports 22.5 watts fast charging, which is still pretty fast. It's not the fastest from Huawei, but 22.5 watts is just fine for me. So you know the basics of the Huawei P40, but how about the applications? You might be asking me about the applications. Well, the Huawei P40 is utilizing the Huawei App Gallery for its applications. Yes, we got here Huawei App Gallery. We do not have here Google Play. But for games, I've downloaded two app stores for our different games. So we've downloaded APK Pure and also Tap.io. Basically all of the games that I need to run pretty well on the smartphone. I mean all of the games that we've used for our benchmarks. So we've also added another game. It's actually available at the Huawei App Gallery. It's the Epic Game Store. With the Epic Game Store, you can download Fortnite on the smartphone, which is one of the most demanding games right now in the market because it's a cross-platform game. So for our gaming review, we're gonna try out PUBG Mobile, Mobile Legends, Call of Duty, and Black Desert Mobile, and of course Fortnite. So yeah, what are we waiting for? So let's do a review. Let's test out the Huawei P40.
Alright, so our first game to try out is Fortnite. So this game is one of the most popular and most demanding games out there in the market, whether it's on PC or on mobile. So at the settings, we're setting it at up to 30 frames per second. We cannot set it up to 60 frames. I believe only the iPad Pro can set it up at 60 frames per second. And of course, we got a 3D resolution at 100%. Everything is the highest settings possible for the Huawei P40. And of course, we've set up the FPS, so you could see the FPS that is running on the smartphone. Unfortunately, we cannot run Game Bench on the Huawei P40 with Fortnite because Fortnite is not allowing developer options. It's a technical thing, but yeah, you could see here the frames per second over at this part later after the game has started. And of course, I'm gonna show you some of our gameplay experience of Fortnite on the Huawei P40. So we're still at the lobby right now, but as you can see here, it's actually running pretty well. It's at 30 frames per second, as you can see there. Everything is running really smooth and really well. Now let's try out getting some items. Let's try destroying this wall. Let's try breaking this wall. Let's see what will happen. So far so good. No frame drops at all. As you can see here, it's running pretty well. There we go. But yeah, you can see here it's still steady at 30 frames per second. It's actually pretty fun that we're running at 30 frames per second without having any problems. Okay, so we got to check out. There's a footsteps right now. Okay, there's a footstep maybe outside. Let's see. Let's investigate if there are enemies out there. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm missing a lot. Oh my god, I literally suck at aiming. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're trying out the game, and yeah. Okay, So yeah, that was pretty intense. I suck at this game, by the way. But yeah, you can see here that the game is running pretty well without any problems at all. Still at 30 frames per second. Though it's getting a little bit warm at the back, maybe because of the demanding graphics of Fortnite. But overall, still pretty good. Okay, so I think we have enough items. We're not trying to win this game, we're just trying to play it. I'm just trying to check out the game. So yeah, let's see, let's build some items over here. Let's see if we could, if we could stress out the smartphone despite building a lot of things on this one. Okay. So yeah, basically it's running pretty well. It's still at 30 frames per second. But yeah, again, it does feel warm at the back. It isn't actually that hot, but it's pretty fine with me. It's like running some heavy game on the smartphone. Well, this is a heavy game, so I'm not surprised. But overall, Fortnite on the Huawei P40 is a seamless experience. You can download it, by the way, on the app gallery. There's the app game store in the app gallery, so it's easy to download, easy to install. Once you download app gallery, I think it's around 3 to 7. I'm not sure. It's more than 3 gigs of data that needs to be downloaded in order to play Fortnite. But again, it's a cross-platform game. You can play with your friends on PC or on other operating platforms or operating systems rather. So yeah, I guess that's it for our gameplay for Fortnite. Now let's check out the other games.
Okay, so the next game that we will try out is actually one of the most popular games right now in the market. It's Call of Duty Mobile. So as you can see here, we're only able to set it up to high settings because at a very high graphic quality, you cannot max out the frame rate. So we're gonna set it up at the high graphics quality, max frame rates with depth of field, and of course with ragdoll. So let's see here. So at the game bench, we can actually set up first the smartphone. Give me a second. Okay, now we're gonna try out Team Deathmatch, Nuketown. Let's see here what will happen on the game. Let's see the median frames per second. Let's wait for this one. Okay, so we're running it currently at 60 frames per second. This is actually a good sign that the Huawei P40 is running the game at a pretty comfortable frame rates. As you can see here, although the display is a little bit small for me, it's a 6.1 inch for a 2020 smartphone. It's a little bit small already for me, considering that I've used the Huawei Mate 30 Pro. So yeah, we're still dying, but anyway, let's change some loadouts. Oh, we didn't able to choose loadouts. Anyway, let's see here. No, okay, we did kill some people, but as you can see here, the frame rates that we're getting is steady at 60 frames per second. So it's a good sign actually that the game is running really smooth. Oh, I didn't notice that enemy. Anyway, the game is running really smooth. You will not have any problems with Call of Duty Mobile. And when it comes to temperature, yes, it does feel comfortable to me. It's not that hot, it's not that warm, it's just fine with me when playing some games. Actually, this is getting intense already. Alright, so I mean the game. So my only problem with this one is that as you can see here, the punch hole camera is actually blocking the map. So there's a big size of the map that is actually being covered by the punch hole camera. We missed that one, but yeah, as you can see here, the average CPU load is 8.6%. Fortunately, the GPU load isn't available, but yet this isn't actually taxing for the smartphone. I mean, the game isn't actually demanding. So basically, the Call of Duty Mobile runs really well on the Huawei P40. Now let's proceed to our next game. Okay, right now guys, we're running PUBG Mobile. As you can see here, we've set up the graphic settings at smooth with extreme frame rates. It's actually capable of HDR settings, but the only frame rate that is available is actually up to ultra. So we're gonna set it up at smooth settings with those extreme frame rates and anti-aliasing on. Now let's try to kill some enemies and let's see what we're getting here on the PUBG Mobile. So right now we're still getting at 60 frames per second. It's actually pretty stable at 60 frames per second. So we're not having any problems with this game so far actually. There we go. So as you can see here, everything is actually quite fine. It's stable at 60 frames per second. No problems at all. This is actually a good sign for the game. There we go. killing a lot of enemies right now. We're decimating them, and the Huawei P40 is actually decimating game bench right now. I mean, it's running at 60 frames per second. You can see that the FPS below is, there are only a few frame drops, and I believe that's only around 58 to 59. Basically, the Kirin 990 is very optimized for gaming. Actually, one of my favorite chipsets when it comes to gaming is Kirin 990, because a lot of heavy and demanding games run pretty well on a Kirin 990. However, I'm still wondering why the Kirin 990 of the Huawei Mate 30 Pro can run the game, can run PUBG Mobile at extreme frame rates at HDR settings, but the Huawei P40 can only run the game at extreme frame rates while at smooth graphics. So I'm not sure why, but hopefully PUBG and Huawei can fix that. I mean, I still prefer having an HDR graphics and of course an extreme frame rates. A better FPS is better when it comes to games like this. Okay, so we're not able to kill that one. So basically, PUBG Mobile runs pretty well on the smartphone, no problems at all. Now let's proceed to our next game. So our next game is actually Black Desert Mobile, one of the most demanding games right now on smartphones. And yes, we were able to run it on the Huawei P40, as you can see in here. So let's check out the settings. Let's go to settings. Let's go to the graphics. Let's set it up to the highest settings possible for the smartphone. So let's set the resolution to max. And then we could also set the frame limit to the max settings. I believe this one can run up to 45 frames per second, but our previous benchmarks were able to run more than 45 frames per second, and I don't know why recently we were able to run it only 45 frames per second. Anyway, as you can see here, we got a really nice graphics, really nice shadows and everything. Now let's try to benchmark this game. Okay, so we're starting to benchmark this game right now. So as you can see here, the median FPS is around 46 from 47. So let's try out killing some enemies in here. Let's see if there will be some frame drops on the game. So as you can see here, there are a lot of effects that are happening on the game, but the median frames per second is actually still decent at 46. It's actually going up to 47 to 45, so there were no frame drops on this game, so this is a good sign for Black Desert Mobile. So as you can see here, more effects, more enemies, and yeah, let's go zooming in. Let's try to zoom in. Let's see if there will be some. No, okay, that's the, yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's, despite a lot of effects that is going on in the game, the Black Desert Mobile still runs at 46 frames per second. This is actually a good sign for the Huawei P40. And yes, as you can see here, no frame drops at all. We're around the minute already and no frame drops still at the game. Okay, so we're around a minute and 41 frames per second. So basically, Black Desert Mobile will run on the smartphone really well without any problems. It's around 46 million frames per second, no problems at all, no frame drops, only up to 45. I think this is actually a good sign. This is a really good sign for the Huawei P40. I really like what we're getting here on the smartphone. Our next game is Mobile Legends. As you can see here, we've set it up at the highest settings possible, ultra graphics, HFR mode on, HD mode on with the shadows and everything. So yeah, okay, so we forgot actually turning on the outlines. There we go. So yeah, so basically the graphics is the highest possible settings on the smartphone. I already expected that the Huawei P40 would run really well on Mobile Legends. I'm just testing it out just for the sake of, you know, just testing it out. So let's try benching, let's try running game bench, and let's benchmark the smartphone. So there we go. So you can see it started really nice at 60 frames per second as expected. I mean, it's a Kirin 990 processor and it's a flagship processor, so I wouldn't have any problems running anything on this one. So yeah, there we go. We just made our first blood. There we go, just destroyed another tower, and yes, we're still at 60 frames per second. Okay, the smartphone can run the game really well and without any problems. I'm pretty sure that we're gonna finish the game in less than 5 minutes. We're gonna wait for the creeps to come in, and let's see what would happen. So yeah, as you can see, it's a steady 60 frames per second,
if you want to play on the smartphone, I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't have any problems running this one. You know, I mean, again, it's a Kirin 990. It's a flagship. Even the Kirin 710F processor can run the game really well, and with the high frame rates. Basically, we've just ended the game, and as you can see, we got 60 frames median frames per second. The frame drops is almost non-existent, as you can see in the graph below. It's very steady at 60 frames per second. So if you're playing Mobile Legends, I'm pretty sure that you wouldn't have any problems running this game on the smartphone. So let's proceed to our verdict for all of the games that we've run earlier today.
You've seen the benchmarks, you've seen our experience with the Huawei P40. Now let's check out the numbers. But first, we're gonna talk about Fortnite, since Gamebench cannot run side by side with Fortnite. So with Fortnite, we're able to run it at 30 frames per second, which is pretty constant on that game. The maximum FPS that we can get is only up to 30 frames per second. And of course, we've set it up at the highest settings possible, and we didn't have any problems running Fortnite on the smartphone, despite, you know, having a lot of battles, destroying some items, destroying some houses and everything. So Fortnite run pretty well on the smartphone. Now let's check out the other games with Gamebench. So our first game is actually Mobile Legends, and we've able to run the game pretty well at 60 frames per second with 100% FPS stability, which is already expected since the game isn't that demanding. And of course, we got here Black Desert Mobile, one of the most demanding games right now in the market. We got 46 frames per second. That is the highest FPS that we can get right now on the smartphone with 100% FPS stability. That is a good sign for me. And then we got here PUBG Mobile, that is running at 60 frames per second and 100% FPS stability. However, the game can only run at smooth graphics with extreme frame rates. I'm wondering why we cannot run the game at HDR settings with extreme frame rates. I mean, the Huawei Mate 30 Pro can run the game at HDR settings with extreme frame rate, but the PUBG Mobile here in the Huawei P40, it's only available at smooth graphics. Well, I'm not really that complaining. I mean, it's still fine with me, but the Mate 30 Pro is running on Kirin 990 processor too, and this one is on Kirin 990 5G, so I don't know why that's happening on the P40, but I hope that an update from PUBG Mobile can fix that soon. But if you want, use it at your own risk. You can use some GFX tool that you can download on APK Pure and or other application stores, and you can tweak the graphic settings of PUBG Mobile manually. And lastly, we've tried out Call of Duty Mobile. We've run the game at 60 frames per second with 100% FPS stability. So yeah, everything and almost all games that we've played on the smartphone run pretty well. Actually, all of the games that we've run on the smartphone run pretty well. It's 100% FPS stability on all games, and of course, it's the highest possible FPS that we got on all games. So yeah, the Huawei P40 can handle those games pretty well, and you won't have any problem if you're planning on getting the smartphone and if you love gaming. So yeah, I guess that's it for our gaming review of the Huawei P40. So yeah, if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click that bell button to get notified to our latest videos here at Jam Online YouTube channel. So once again, I am Jam of jamonline.ph. Thank you for watching. See you guys again on my next video.